Welcome, everyone, to UnSKripted. Once again, this is Chris Featherstone for another episode. I'm ready to have a great time, just like we do every single week on this show. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I got my stripes on for a reason tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I am pleased to have on the show one of my favorite guests. I love every single time I chat with this guy, man. It's funny because, every now and then I've been a journalist for a long time, and you build a friendship with certain people that you really appreciate, and then you like just really soaking in their wrestling knowledge. And this is definitely one of those people. So without further ado, he is one of the greatest people to ever don a drape of stripes, ladies and gentlemen. He is Nick Patrick. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's great to have you again tonight. Yeah, man. How you doing?
I've been doing really good, man.
Awesome.
I've been staying busy. Got my Deep South starting to roll again, and
nice.
And taking care of my parents a lot during this pandemic stuff that's going on. Trying to make sure that I keep them in because my dad just turned 82.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, so I'm trying to keep them out of the stores and out doing stuff. So that's keeping me pretty busy.
Nice. That's fantastic, man. I know that your dad, legendary, and I know he's still trucking along, man, and still trying to get you in the collar and elbow, huh?
Oh yeah, he's still out riding his truck. He likes to take off and have his cigar breaks. I think it's him and my mom's break away from each other. He takes off and goes to the park and feeds the squirrels and smokes cigars and talks to a couple of his old buddies. And my mom kicks back in her chair and watches her soaps, and it's like they're both their little go to their own corner deal.
Nice. That's awesome, man. You still, being the good son that you are, man. So big kudos to you for that. So good stuff. All right, so let's get right into the Q&A. You know how we do it in UnSKripted. So here we go. Let's start off with Reju. Hey, Nick, big fan. What really happened at Starrcade 97? Was Sting really not ready for the title?
I think Sting's always ready for the title. He wasn't in the same physical shape that they expected him to be in, but that was a time when guys were back in the day, guys always, they were on the gas, and some guys wanted to get off. And I think at that point in time, he had injuries and he had different issues going. And when he came back, he didn't look the same as he did before. And the people reacted to it, and they gave him a hard time for it. So he changed his look, you know. But as far as his work and his charisma and his ability, you know, that was still all there. You know, it was he had to be presented, packaged differently.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see here. Prete asking, "Hi Nick, what was it like wrestling Earl Hebner in 2001? Do you have any backstage stories from that match?"
Oh no, Earl's a great guy. And it's, all the different matches I had were a lot of fun. My match with Earl was it was no different, you know. And it was really pretty simple. They didn't really have it. We didn't do a whole lot. And Mick Foley come down and got involved in it. They're lucky I didn't whoop everybody. That's what I'm doing. Earl Hebner and Mick Foley, both of them together.
Just stun everybody. Just get everybody.
Patrick Power Bomb.
That's right. the Patrick Pile Driver.
Patrick Power Driver. Well, that's even better. I'd probably kill myself trying to get somebody.
Good stuff. All right, so let's go with about Sal saying, "Hi Nick, can you tell some interesting behind the scenes rules that referees have to follow in WWE?"
Behind the scene rules. I don't quite understand what behind the scene rules.
I guess tricks of the trade. I mean, you know, you got the you know, the slipping the blade. You got the you know, calling someone, it's time to wrap it up type of, you know, all the,
well that's always what the earpiece is for. We're the communication between the truck and the people in the ring.
Was Kevin Dunn the one talking to you a lot in the truck?
No, but he could hear everything that was said on our channel. He could break into our channel, and I could very seldom hear him. I didn't really want to hear him, but I was more in touch with. They always had an agent there.
Okay.
They're called producers now, but when I was there, they were called agents, and they would be the liaison, like between the truck and the guys in the ring. You know, and there was always a different guy you could hear. Like Jerry Briscoe, when I was there, was the guy that would time everything out, and he would be telling me, "Okay, look, we got 5 minutes left," or whatever, you know. But as far as rules, they just kind of expected the refs to help out with all the pre-production stuff, you know, because guys would be scattered all over the place, and they'd have pre-tapes. You know how they do all the different pre-tapes, and we'd be all chasing all over the building trying to find people and get them where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be there. But once all that was taken care of, I just like to try to find a place to unwind once I knew everything, what I was doing, you know, get away from the madness a little bit. And like, I'd go out to my car and just kick back and turn the radio on and just lay back for a little while before everything kicked off, because the chaos was soon to ensue.
Yeah. Piggyback on this, was there any time that you remember that specifically in WWE, was there any time where like you missed a call and then someone just kind of started, you know, calling like louder or yelling or something like that because you missed a call?
I kind of don't understand that question either.
So someone like Briscoe's in your ear and then, you know, he has to repeat it or something like that because you don't do it.
No, really, because that I'm hard of hearing now because I have that thing in my ear.
Oh, got you. Okay.
And then working in front of so there was no mistake in missing unless that thing got pulled out of my ear. It just popped out from sweat, which very seldom ever happened. But when we first started wearing them, that happened a lot because we didn't have the custom pieces. They had some of them things. It was like trying to stick a pacifier in your ear. And it was just uncomfortable. As soon as you start sweating, and then bing, and then just pop right out of your ear. We're all trying to stick it back in without the camera picking us up.
Yeah.
Once we got those custom molded fitted ones, there was no problem there, really.
Now, how was it in the 90s? I mean, it's even in the 80s, as far as how things were called.
Before we had communication like that, we would have somebody that would give us, like, we'd know how much time we had, and I'd have somebody that would give us time cues. I'd always look and, at them, and they'd tell me how much time was gone, and we'd know how much time we'd have left, and it'd be prearranged. Okay, like we need 4 minutes to to get this in. So Iggy when it's 4 minutes, and I'll pass it along.
Yeah, I think
kind of did it back in the old days.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just kind of miss that element and how important that element is for someone to tell you and then you to tell the wrestlers how much time it is, because people wonder, why is it always over exactly or close to exactly 2 or 3 hours? It's because of those cues, like because you're the one who's causing it to be so timely.
Looking like you're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
Where you sneak in like you're checking a hole. No, there's no choke. You got 4 minutes, you know.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of that stuff happens in the corner too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I try to keep it from out of the corner because all those corners are microphone, and I hate it. And the kids that I teach, if you're going to do something to me, know what you're going to do before you get there.
Yeah.
Don't go over there and get in the corner and then start whispering in each other's ear.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But you do see an awful lot of that.
You do, absolutely. Anna Roberts said, "Hi Nick, do you think the fans overlook the importance of referees?"
I don't think real fans that are really into wrestling and follow it closely do, because they kind of have a better understanding now of what we actually do than they did back in the 80s, maybe even early 90s. Now with all the reality TV and all this stuff, they pretty much got a grasp on what we do. And people that truly follow wrestling, I think we're pretty well appreciated. Not paid well enough, but appreciated by the fans.
Yep. Let's see. Shout out to Dale's giving you some love. Nick was and always will be one of the best reps of all time.
Thank you very much, Dale. I appreciate that, man.
Nice. I agree.
A lot slower now.
still one of the GOATs for sure. I was asking, how was it being the ref when the two divas rolled over you and you dusted yourself off?
Oh, I don't know which time. I've had a bunch of divas roll over me. My first experience happened with divas was I was only a couple of years in the business. I was working, my first territory was Central States. It was Kansas City.
Kansas,
yeah. It was the ladies was Joyce Grable and Judy Martin, Leilani Kai, and oh gosh, I forgot who the fourth girl was. But anyway, they had told the boys what they were going to do, evidently, and just all the guys was lined up on the stage, which should have tipped me off, but I was only 2 years in the business, so I didn't know. And they did that little spot where the girls get the good girls get down, and they look like they're rowing a boat with the legs, you know. So they start doing that, and Joyce looks at me and says, "Jump in the middle." And I'm like, "Jump in the middle?" And they're rolling the legs, and they go, "Jump in the middle." And I'm like, "What?" So I jumped in the middle. When I did, they all four glommed me. And one was underneath me, and the others were on top of me, and they were wailing on me. And I'm like, "Whoa!" And I didn't know what was going on, but the one underneath me undid my belt and undid my pants, and they were going to de-pants me in the ring. And I realized what was going on, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I reached down. As soon as I reached down to grab, they all jumped up off of me.
Oh wow!
I get up and fix my pants in front of people, and that was the first time. I was young and only getting experience, and it's scary. I jumped up. I was legitimately going. I was up there on the stage, and the boys were rolling around. My dad was one of them too. They was up there rolling around laughing at me.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Central States. Michaels and Jannetty came out of Central States, didn't they?
Who was that?
Michaels and Jannetty, the Rockers.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they were in Central States. Yeah,
a lot of people were tattoo there back in the day. It wasn't like one of the huge money-making territories, but it was a good place to pass through and transition. It was a good starter place. It was where I started.
Yeah. One of my good friends, Ben, is asking, what's going on, Nick? As my good friend Chris knows, I was always an NWA guy. How was it working with Warrior in WCW?
With the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah.
He was only there for a brief time, and he had he had his own locker room, so he didn't really hang out around the rest of us common people, I guess. But as far as working with him, he was a nice enough guy to talk to, but to me, he was one of the worst in the ring. That's of the big money making guys. You know, he had some good matches, but it took the person that he was working with to pull a really great match out of the guy. And you never really knew where he was going to do or where he was coming from. He blew my knee out. I had my last ACL surgery. I'd already had injured it prior, and I had a little bit of problem with it. But I was refereeing him and Hulk Hogan, and
that was Halloween Havoc, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it was in Las Vegas. It was
at the blown fire spot.
Yeah, I don't remember what all happened, but
I think it was the blown fire spot. Yeah,
I remember I was pushing Hogan back, and the Warrior was down selling. And he was on the complete other side of the ring. As I put the Warrior or Hogan back, all of a sudden he rolls into the side of my leg, and I'm like, where did he even come from? And oh, my knee buckled to the inside. I remember my eyes got real big, and I had my hands already on Hulk's chest. I went, he just blew my knee out. And he goes, can you take a bump? I was like, yeah. And he grabbed me and he threw me out over the top rope. And I took the bump and I just stayed out of the way. I was able to get up and walk. It was weird because I went ahead and tore the rest of the ACL and just went ahead and blew. I could walk on it, but I could not raise my heel up and touch, like doing leg curls or do that leg curl deal where you bring your heel up to your butt. It wouldn't even come off the floor. But I was still able to walk with it. Then that was my second ACL replacement deal.
Yeah. Wow. Rizu's asking, what was the story behind the fast count at Starrcade 97?
Yeah, we told that story a long time ago, but I tell it again. I got there to the building that day, and Eric Bischoff was running things. He come up to me and he told me his version of the finish, which was kind of a general version. And then he took off because he knew there was going to be controversy, and I couldn't find him for the entire rest of the day. So I had one guy telling me to give it a fast count, and I had the other guy telling me to give it a nice, slow, regular count. Because back in the day, I didn't count like the WWE guys. I didn't know about 2, 3, like I was trying to put a fire out. I was like 1, 2, and trying to put more, I guess, drama to it or whatever. But so now I've got, and each guy is like the top guy, it's the franchise guy. Hogan and Sting both were franchise guys. The company more at first was behind Sting, but now Hogan was the new guy, and they pouring everything into him. So now we've got our 2 guys butting heads, and I'm kind of stuck in the middle. And I can't find Eric to give me an answer. I just kind of split the difference, and my count was different than normal. I did one of the WWE counts. It was like, a little bit faster, but not ridiculously fast that it was obvious that, so really nobody got what they wanted out of the deal. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get fired. But I think Eric was just so glad that it was over that he didn't fire me. He just and let it keep on rolling. But that's what happened. One guy wanted one thing, the other wanted something else, and the person that was supposed to be in charge made sure he hid so he wouldn't make the decision.
What happened backstage after all that? Was it
nothing really? I went and got dressed. Nobody said anything to me. What happened in their inner office, I don't know, because I wasn't called in there, so I didn't go. But I just went and got my clothes. I was waiting for somebody to come up and say, Nick, you're fired, but it never happened. So, but
it's business as usual, huh?
Yeah, I was ready to take off, go back to the room, go find something to eat, get ready to go wherever was going next. I think I was coming home after that. Yeah, it was a pay-per-view, so I was get home after that long day of stress. I wanted to get home.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest pay-per-view of the year too. So
I walked all over that building, like in and out and up and down all day long looking for Eric. He had the best hiding spot in the world. I had no idea where he was. I couldn't find him.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. Alan's asking, during the ruthless aggression era, many superstars commented saying Raw and SmackDown had a big rivalry. Was it the same with refs on both brands as well?
Not really, because they had us all separated at first, with guys doing this and that, but they ended up, that didn't last very long. They ended up having all of us doing both shows. But there was no, that was any rivalry was storyline. There was no really brand rivalry. There was always guys wanting to, a couple of guys up there, I think, was a little perturbed that I ended up being the head ref for SmackDown because they needed a head ref, and there was 2 other guys that had been there longer than me.
Yeah, you put your time in though.
Yeah, they hadn't been in the business longer than me.
Yeah,
Or up there per se, longer than me. But those 2 guys were butting heads with each other every night, and that was the problem. That's why they brought me in and made me the head ref, because those 2 guys, instead of one of them taking over and they would butt heads with each other. So
got it.
I ended up being the head ref for SmackDown out of that deal, which turned out okay for me.
Absolutely. Jason's asking, what's your thoughts on how the WWE handled the invasion angle? Thanks.
I think that they kind of threw it away, to be honest with you. I think it could have been done. I think that they had everybody's attention. Everybody was in shock, when Shane and them all showed up, and they had the world's attention. But for some reason, I don't think, and maybe it was in the way it was presented, but I don't think that people really bought that there was a war anymore, because they knew that we'd been beaten, and and through the social media, they knew that they took a handful of guys to use, and everybody else they sent to like a training camp, like they were just starting in the business again. So and a lot of that was attitude check too, because everything they do up there is an attitude check to see how you're going to react. But as far as the invasion thing, I think that it was hot at first, but I think that I don't think that people really bought into that we were really 2 brands warring with each other anymore, because the WWE and WCW war was a real war. And everybody knew that.
Yeah.
And this was just, and it was a scripted war, and it come across that way, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Elvis is asking, hey, Nick, do you have a good memory of the late American Dwayne Dusty Rhodes, baby? Perhaps a funny backstage story, baby. Come on, Daddy, give me something here, baby.
Dusty was awesome, man. Dusty was really cool. There was a funny Dusty story. He gets on, we were on this little, it wasn't a charter flight, it was one of the small connector flights, little commuter deals. And it was like one of those little seats where they had 2 seats on one side and one on the other. And it was packed. And it was a bunch of the wrestlers, a bunch of big guys on it. So the stewardess comes up to Dusty and said, sir, how much do you weigh? And he looked at her real fast. Why you ask me that? She goes, well, we have to know for checks and balances, weight and balances, so we know how much fuel we can put on a plane. He goes, baby, fill it up.
Fill it up, Daddy. Come on, fill it up. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I love it. I never had the luxury. He's in my top 3 of all time. I never had the luxury of meeting him, but I could definitely see Dusty Rhodes saying, fill it up, baby. Just fill it up, baby. Oh, that's awesome, man. Leonard is asking, hey, Nick, good to have you here. You work with both The Rock and Steve Austin. Who was the better worker, in your opinion? And any interesting backstage stories with them that you could share?
It's hard to say who's the better worker. That's kind of like saying who's the better guitar player. Is this guy that plays classical guitar better than this guy that plays flamenco guitar, or this guy that plays rock? I mean, they both have their own styles, and they all have their own persona, and they both can work with anybody. It's hard to say which one of those would be. I guess whoever's better is whichever one you like better, because they were both incredible. And those are 2 of the guys, and there's only a handful of guys that you can just hand a microphone to and say, go. And give them 15, 20, 30 minutes if they wanted to. Have the people watching, live in the crowd and at home completely captivated the whole time. And that takes having it. There's just that it factor that not a lot of guys have it, and both of those guys have it. So it's really almost impossible to say which one is better, because it's just whichever one you like the most.
Yeah. Now, any interesting backstage stories? I know during the WrestleMania 17 era, as far as what I heard, there was kind of competition between The Rock and Stone Cold. It wasn't, animosity or anything, but they both were jockeying for that top spot. Did you kind of experience any of that?
You could feel that, but they never. There was never like any kind of confrontation.
Gotcha.
Just like you tell by they would watch the other's match and stuff, so they and you can tell the intensity whenever they were lining their stuff up. It was competition is good. It turns out the best, and that's why the war between WCW and WWE was so good, because it brings out you have to be your best in order to try and win. And that was the same with those two guys. For them to have that competition with each other is probably one of the reasons why they ended up being as great as they were and still are.
Yeah. And I'll still say that WrestleMania 17 to me and to many is the greatest WrestleMania of all time to me. I think that main event, just the leading to it was just so good. The vignette, it was just so amazing to me. Minus the Deborah involvement, I think that was just kind of like a useless detail.
WWE was the best storytellers in as far as the vignettes and comparing characters, and it seems like they kind of lost that somewhere. I mean, it's not gone, but they don't seem to be as they just don't seem to be as strong in that area now as they used to be.
Yeah, I agree. And remember, who was easy to work with, Vince or Eric?
Oh, that's a flip of the coin. They both had big egos. Vince was, I think, Vince is more approachable, I think, even than Eric back in the day. Because, if Eric liked you, he was approachable. But if he was, not on his radar, if he was on the grunt list, then he really didn't have any time for you. Vince will talk to anybody. You could be anybody. If you've got something to say and you've got enough nerve to come up and talk to him, he'll talk to you.
Yeah.
You may not get what you want, but he'll talk to you.
At the end of the conversation, you'll be feeling guilty, but he'll still talk to you. Yeah. I got a few more here. Lenard's asking, what are your thoughts about referees not being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, they do that for a reason, because they don't want to pay us royalties. Referees don't get any kind of royalties. Even I was on video game for 3 years. And they gave me a little lump sum of cash for doing it, but there's as far as getting royalties or anything, referees don't get that. Announcers get it. The first time, as soon as something starts to break down in the ring, that's the first thing they start doing, screaming, referees, referees out there. They got referees out there giving medical help, like they were putting people on gurneys and stuff like that. Like we have medical backgrounds in the medical knowledge. Man.
Yeah, I think that's weird, though, because, you and Danny Davis really stick out as far as heel referees. Like, you weren't just a referee, you were a character. You know what I mean? And I think that I would say you and Danny Davis, out of anybody, should get royalties, because it wasn't just a referee kind of on, in the back burner.
We actually had matches with people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were personalities.
Yeah, that does make us a little bit different, but it didn't really make it. It does make us different, but in reality, money-wise, it didn't make us.
Yeah, sad. All right, I got a couple more. Let's see here. Let's see from someone. Hey, Philip. Yes, it is Nick Patrick from WCW, baby.
Yes, baby, in live color.
Live and living color. Getting funky like a monkey if you wheel, baby.
You wheel.
All right, let's see here. Got a couple more. There's some good questions. We got to bring you back, man. Got to bring it back. There's so many good questions. Ben, what's your most memorable Flair match?
Ooh, I worked so many of them with him. It's hard to say, because when you work with somebody every night and they give the same amount every night, he's one of the guys that's going to give you 110 if he's working in the National Guard Armory in Podunk, Arkansas, or if he's in in some Superdome somewhere. You know, he's
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say because any match I ever worked with him, he gave 110% or 120 because back in the day, he traveled and he was going from territory to territory to territory every night, doing hours and hour-long matches with the top guys from every place and getting color every night. And you know, he earned his wings as being one of the best champions of all time. And it's really hard to say which one would be my most memorable of working with him. Because there's just so many of them, you know. I worked several. I think him in some of the matches. I think one time when I think he dropped the title to Dusty one time, and I worked that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty
all, you know, they all were amazing. You know,
yeah.
I'm very fortunate to work with some top-notch people in the industry.
Nice.
With all the big dogs at one time or another somewhere along.
Of course you did, man, because you're the man. You're the man, baby. That's right.
Barry Horowitz.
Barry Horowitz, yeah, he's actually another friend of mine. Yeah, shout out to Barry. All right, last question. Riju is asking, what do you think of how Cody is carrying on Dusty's legacy with AEW, baby?
I think it's amazing. I think it's he got tired and felt like he was being pigeonholed, and he's going out and showing what he can do. And he's not trying to be an imitation of his dad. He's creating his own deal. And with AEW capturing and beating WWE's ratings for a couple of weeks, that's got to speak volumes right there as to the job he's doing. He's going out and laying his body on the line and, you know, getting his head busted open, doing things and doing flips off the top of cages. And he's
landing on a bed of thumbtacks.
Yeah, I mean, what is it that he won't do? You know, I think that he is carrying on his dad's legacy and bringing it in to the new school era.
Yeah,
in a big way.
I agree because recently we saw him just get completely destroyed by Brody Lee, which was, I mean, that's old school, man. I mean, just you know, the heel just get his comeuppance against, you know, the babyface, and it was good. You know, I've been critical of Cody just not distinguishing the baby faces and heels because I do think that's a big deal, and we see how important it is when you're really making someone a star. Like, you know, when he was Luke Harper in WWE, it's totally different now being Brody Lee. He looks big, he looks legit, he looks like a bad heel that you love to hate. You know, so
yeah, I'm glad to see him being able to come out of that shell like that. That's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. My man, it's been a pleasure as always, Nick.
All right, well, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. I'll be contacting you soon, man. We got to do round 2. We've got some questions outstanding, man, and I would love to bring you back on as always, man.
Hey, before I go, I want to shout out to the Armstrong family.
Please do.
All like brothers to me. And they recently lost their mama, and now they just lost their dad. And God bless you guys. We're thinking about each and every one of you and your families.
Yes, amen. Perfect send off, man. That was a great way to end this this segment, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate the love, and I appreciate all your support, man, and just your support for me and me, what I do as a journalist. You're always available, man. I love that about you. And I know you got a busy schedule, man, but you're actually one of my favorite wrestling personalities to talk to because you support what I do, man. So I appreciate that.
Well, thanks for having me again. Hit me up. I got some Deep South news I'll tell you about that will leak out down the road.
Nice. I love it. All right, I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.